Have you ever stared at one of those massive, flawless 4K video walls in a sports bar and just wondered, what is actually powering it? Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we are diving into a highly specialized product page from HDTV Supply to decode the invisible hardware behind those giant screens.
Right. We are looking at the stuff most people never even think about.
Exactly. Specifically, we are looking at the Vitec, which used to be Exterity. It is the AVPLY-M9405-009 AvediaPlayer.
Okay, let's unpack this, because to the average person, a media player is just, a cheap little dongle you plug into your TV to stream movies.
Yeah, like a Roku or whatever. But this Vitec box is a completely different beast. It is a 4K UHD IPTV set-top box engineered specifically for enterprise environments.
And looking at the spec sheet here, it is just wild to think this tiny box has 32 gigabytes of onboard storage.
Which is massive for a dedicated device like this.
Right. That is essentially enough to cache 3 solid hours of 4K video. So it's basically building this huge safety net so the video never drops.
Yeah, and it also features HTTP v2.2 decryption. Oh, right. Which, if you are not a massive AV nerd, is basically a really strict digital handshake.
Exactly. It proves to the content creators that their copyrighted video is not being pirated before it even allows the video to play.
So it is kind of like a high-security, miniaturized vault. But its entire existence is just dedicated to flawlessly looping ultra-high-definition video.
What's fascinating here is the technical significance of having dedicated single-purpose hardware for end-to-end 4K IP video delivery.
Because a buffering wheel is fine at home on your couch, right?
Yeah, at home it is just a mild annoyance. But in enterprise digital signage, like on a 50-foot video wall during a major corporate presentation, a buffering wheel is a massive, very public failure.
Oh, absolutely. A complete disaster.
Right. So this box handles heavy IP network video decoding to make sure delivery is totally seamless. It is not trying to run a dozen background apps. It is putting all its computing power into pushing pixels.
Which makes total sense. But decoding all that 4K video generates a massive amount of heat. Normally, you would need a loud spinning fan to cool a processor working that hard.
You would think so, yeah.
So since this thing has to live quietly in a corporate lobby or like a dusty IT closet, how does it not just melt or cost a total fortune in electricity to run?
Well, that really comes down to the physical engineering. Vitec designed it to be completely fanless, and it operates on extremely low power.
Wow, so no moving parts at all.
None. It relies entirely on passive cooling, which makes it super economical and reliable. But there is a massive catch when it comes to the software side.
Because there's always a catch.
Always. This device requires an Audio Portal client license, and it literally only functions within the AudioSign or Avidia server ecosystems.
Wait, so it is a totally walled garden?
100%.
So what does this all mean? Because honestly, as a consumer, if I bought a streaming box and it only let me use one specific app from one company, I would return it immediately.
Oh, for sure. Anyone would.
Right. Why are enterprise buyers putting up with a device that is locked into a single software ecosystem instead of just choosing something universal?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, it actually makes perfect sense for this industry. Think of consumer tech like a Swiss Army knife.
Okay, so it does a little bit of everything.
Exactly. But because it does everything, it is prone to background updates, app conflicts, memory leaks, you name it. Open platforms invite variables.
And variables cause crashes.
Exactly. By locking the hardware exclusively to their RTSign software, Vitec guarantees the processor's resources are 100% dedicated to that single video feed. A closed, tightly controlled ecosystem equals maximum stability.
That intense focus on technical reliability over consumer flexibility actually perfectly explains the real-world buyer experience we see in the vendors' reviews.
Yeah, the reviews are pretty telling.
I was looking through the feedback for HDTV Supply, and they've been selling these AV products globally for 25 years. And here's where it gets really interesting. Yeah, these reviews completely shattered my idea of what good customer service actually looks like.
Really? How so?
Well, you have buyers like Samuel S. giving 5 stars, and Hopkins praising them for a super quick technical fix on specific 4K resolution settings.
Okay, sounds pretty normal so far.
Right, but then there's John M., who left a 3-star review specifically stating the staff was, quote, less than friendly, but answered my question.
That is brilliant. It perfectly illustrates the B2B buying reality.
Exactly. It is not about making friends.
No, when you are installing a complex multi-screen matrix, expertise outweighs a smile every single time. These buyers are dealing with high-stakes, highly expensive infrastructure.
They do not care about retail cheerfulness at all.
Not even a little bit. They need exact, highly technical problem solving. Getting the technical answer right is literally the only metric of success that actually matters.
It really is a completely different world.
Yeah.
It is just wild to think that the most visually stunning, cutting-edge public displays we interact with are entirely dependent on this unglamorous, purely functional IT closet infrastructure.
It truly is the invisible backbone of our modern visual spaces.
It really is. So the next time you walk past a stunning 4K video wall in a corporate lobby or a sports bar, you now know it is likely powered by a silent, fanless box, just like this one sitting in the dark doing all the heavy lifting.
It's just passively cooling and pushing pixels.
Exactly. But, it does leave you wondering, as these walled garden hardware boxes become more and more integrated into our infrastructure, will the visual landscape of our public physical spaces eventually be entirely curated by just one or two invisible software ecosystems?
That is a really great question.
Something to think about.